What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is AJ and this video is a follow-up video to the KISS cigar storage method. I got a lot of questions about my Tupperdor, so I wanted to go more in depth on my exact setup. So here's a quick glance at it. It's a Tupperware. I'm using the Spanish Cedar trays, Boveda packs of course, and this nifty hygrometer here to track the temperature and humidity. And I'm going to go a lot more into depth on everything that's here so you can see why this is such an easy and such a convenient setup that works very well for storing your cigars. And of course, I'll link all of these items in the description box below. And what I'm using here is a Sistema 236 ounce container. At the time I'm making this video, it's going for $19.99 on Amazon, but there's also a 10% off coupon. It measures about 14 inches long, 9¼ inches wide, and sits 4 3/4 inches tall. You can really stuff this thing with a ton of cigars. Just maxing it out, you can probably fit over 100 cigars in here. Although, I would not put that many in here. I would keep it around 70 or so. Just the reason being is to have some more air in there and enough space for the humidity that's in the air to kind of disperse itself evenly. You don't want to stuff this thing with cigars. Also, another question I was asked is about keeping the cellophane that cigars usually are sold in on or off. You can store them in these boxes however you like, with or without the cellophane. However, there are some things to consider and some pros and cons of each methods of storage. So I've been through a lot with my setups and storing them, and I've stored them in every way imaginable, with and without cellophane, and trying different things out. If you guys really want me to go more in depth on how I get my cigars just smoking perfectly from my Tupperdor straight to the flame all the way down to the nub, and never any issues in all of my cigars smoking as they should. If you guys really want me to go more in depth about that, leave a comment below and I'll make a video on it. Also, the same thing applies when it comes to like sealed boxes. You can put them inside of this airtight container, no problem, because the wood that the cigars are stored in are going to absorb humidity as well. So you don't have to worry about your cigars that are in the box drying out or anything. So they're all going to reach that same humidity once the Boveda does its thing and everything inside that Tupperware stabilizes. One of the main reasons this setup works so well is because it has an airtight seal. And this is thanks to the rubber gasket that you see here on the lid. So whenever this is locked in place, it traps any air or moisture inside the container from escaping. It also has these 4 locking clips on the side. They give a nice positive click whenever you engage them, so you know that this lid is not going anywhere. And plus, they're also a stackable design, so you can stack a couple of them on top of each other, stow them away however you like. I know that's been super convenient for me. I just slide them right into this IKEA bookshelf that I have. It's very convenient. And best of all, these are completely odorless. A lot of times when you get these plastic containers, they have an odor to them that it's a hassle to get rid of. And it's really nice that these don't have that issue. So yeah, I've been using this Tupperware for such a long time. I just keep adding more and more to the collection. I just keep buying more cigars than I can smoke. So I gotta store them somehow. And this is just such an easy way to do so. I noticed one of mine got cracked on the bottom here, and it doesn't affect the container at all, but that's where it's stackable from. And I didn't even notice until I grabbed it from there. So it didn't affect it in any kind of way anyway. But that's just something to note for sure. Also, another thing to keep in mind about these airtight containers is whatever Boveda humidity you use in them is gonna read 1 to 2% higher, and that's because it's completely airtight. So like here, I'm using 62 RH Boveda packs. You could see readings like 63, 64%. Now, if I was using 65% Boveda packs, you would probably see 66 and 67 readings on your hygrometer. This one right now is reading 62. For me personally, I haven't had a lot of issues, but I know most people experience that where it's 1 to 2% higher than the rating on the Boveda pack. And like I said, that's simply because it's an airtight seal. My own personal experience has been whatever Boveda I put in there, that's the reading I get. If it's 62, I get 62 on the reading as well. And make no mistake, you don't have to go out and get this exact Tupperware. In fact, you can use any plastic or glass container similar to this, so long as it has an airtight seal you're probably going to be good to go. And of course, make sure it's something that doesn't have a bad plastic odor to it. A very good alternative to the Sistema Tupperware is the Rubbermaid Brilliance line, and it's got an airtight lid, and they also make them in glass or plastic as well, so you got your options there. And this can be a good option if you don't have, or if you don't plan on buying so many cigars to fill up one of these Sistema containers. But let's face it, look, I'm telling you out of experience, bro, we've all been there. You're gonna buy a lot more cigars than you think. So my advice to you is figure out what size Tupperware container you need, and then buy the next size up. Trust me. Now, of course, you probably already know by now, Boveda packs is how we maintain the humidity inside the Tupperware. And the great thing about Boveda packs is they seem to last forever. These things can last a year or more in an airtight Tupperdor, and as long as the pack is still squishy, then you know it's still good. But for example, if you were using Boveda packs in a wood humidor, it would still work just fine, but the packs will dry up much sooner and need to get replaced much quicker. This is because the Boveda packs are working to maintain the humidity, and at the same time you've got the wood and the ambient air simultaneously drying it up. So you see, in an airtight Tupperware container, Boveda packs are much more efficient because they can maintain that humidity in the container so much easier. All you have to do is figure out how many packs you need and what size of those packs you need for your container. Luckily, Boveda has a calculator on that site that makes this super easy. You just enter some information on the calculator that's on their website, and it tells you exactly the quantity and what size packs do you need. It'll also tell you what RH they recommend. However, you're subscribed to Sigma Cigars, so you know better than to use 69 RH or 72 RH packs, right? All right. And just to clarify, for anyone new here or new to the Tupperdors, you should not be using any other RH than 62 or 65. Personally, 62 RH has been treating me very well. Now, the calculator on Boveda's website recommends 4 60-gram packs for this container. And personally, I've only ever used 3 packs if I'm just storing single cigars in there. With the Spanish Cedar drawers, I do use 4. So if I'm putting Spanish Cedar in here, or if I'm using a whole box of cigars and I would put it in there, I would definitely use the 4 packs. And speaking of the Spanish Cedar trays that I'm using, it is very important that whatever Spanish Cedar you choose to use, that it is actual Spanish cedar. You know, while it does smell good, regular cedar wood is going to be very overpowering, and it's going to ruin the flavors of your cigars. Whereas Spanish cedar smells good, but it still won't overpower the aromas of the cigars. And keep in mind, while I'm using these Spanish cedar trays, you don't have to, and you could still store your cigars just loosely in there. These Spanish Cedar trays are a nice addition to the Tupperdor setup. In fact, I was using just Tupperware container alone for a long time before I even decided to put these trays in there. And that's only because they were always out of stock. So they're actually in stock right now. So if you're thinking about doing it or you want to, I think now would be a great time to grab them. So yeah, this tray measures 12.5 by 7.5 and 2¼ inches tall. It also has this nice divider right here in the middle, which is great for separating your cigars. However, in my experience, this divider does have some tolerance issues. I've had some that were a little bit too loose and some that were just too large for the tray. And, you know, just trying to force it down and pop it in there, I ended up peeling the rubber that's on the end of it. Not the end of the world, it still functions just like it should. Just something I want to make sure to note to you guys. But really, the very cool thing about these trays is that it's a perfect fit for the Sistema container, as you've already seen. And what's even great, not only you can fit one, you can stack 2, one on top of the other in here, and it's like just the perfect fit. It's almost as if it was made for each other. When I'm using these trays, I like to line my Boveda packs on the outside edges of the trays. So I have 4, you know, going along the sides. And actually, even if I'm not using the trays, I would still put my Boveda packs on the edge of the container. Just keep in mind, if you use these trays, that you're going to lose a lot of storage space. So with these trays right here, I can fit about 20 cigars in each tray. So right here, I have 40 cigars in here, where otherwise I would be able to fit 70 or 80 cigars. In this right now, I can probably stuff another 10 or 15 in there, with no problem. But yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Another thing, and this is very important, if you use these trays, make sure you season them first. And that goes for any wood that you add to your cigars, because if it's not seasoned, then the wood is gonna dry up the humidity from your cigars. And keeping track of temperature and humidity in your Tupperdor is also important. I really like these small hygrometers that I found on Amazon. They make a bunch of different models. I just chose one that has the smallest form factor. They connect with Bluetooth to your phone, so as long as you're nearby, you can check it on your phone. They also make a Wi-Fi model that lets you monitor your hygrometer literally from anywhere. So, how cool is that? Once you're connected to this little gadget, you can download the app to your phone, and then you can check your readings on your phone. The app is really cool, intuitive. It's got nice visuals and graphs, and within the app, it'll save all your historical data. So you can, check out the trends that's happening with your temperature fluctuations and humidity fluctuations, and it'll have all that laid out for you in the app and saved. The app also lets you set alerts, so whenever a certain temperature or humidity level is hit, it'll send you a notification to your phone. Now, I have found them to be consistent and precise, but you gotta make sure that you calibrate them before you use them, and that's also done with the app. You can calibrate the temperature and the humidity level. The number one downside, I would say, is that it burns through batteries extremely fast. I can't speak for all the other models that they make, but this one specifically, it takes, I think, CR2450 batteries, and I have gone through so many. It's not a big deal. I always keep them in handy now, but man, it just burns through batteries so quickly. And the worst part is once the battery has died out, the app really doesn't tell you, and you won't even know the battery has died unless you pay attention and look at the last time and reading, and you'll see that it's long past. So I just don't want you guys to stress out over these readings. However, it is nice to have. I've used them to check the temperature all around the house, different rooms, different storage units, like dry boxes, and of course the Tupperdor, and even the cooler door that I have now. So it's definitely a handy tool to have around. Of course, as long as your temperature is under 75 degrees Fahrenheit and you're using Boveda packs, you're going to be good to go. But you want to make sure that your Tupperdor is never going past 75, maybe 76, but even that is pushing it, to be honest with you. If your cigars are hitting temperatures above that, then you need to seriously consider a different option for storing your cigars, something that has some cooling capabilities. I recently picked up a cooling humidor, so I'll probably do a review on that sometime in the future. If that's something you guys want to see, make sure to let me know by leaving a comment down below. All right, guys, tap that like button. Make sure you subscribe so I can keep making more content like this. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.